welcome to another episode of Melissa's Menu. Spring is in the air and Easter is right around the corner. I wanted to incorporate a different menu for Easter this year. Instead of doing the regular Easter ham with the fixings, I thought this episode would be a little bit different if we called it Easter brunch. So with that being said, I have 4 delicious recipes for you all to watch me make. First is scalloped ground potatoes. Next is baked French toast casserole with maple syrup. Then we have spinach and bacon quiche. And finally, a very special Easter cocktail, blood orange bellinis. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a scalloped potato gratin, one of my very favorite side dishes. I love, love, love potatoes. Mashed potatoes, baked potatoes, scalloped potatoes, you name it. I love potatoes. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and start. We're first going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. This recipe makes approximately 4 to 6 servings. And in a medium saucepan I have right here, we're going to add 1.5 cups of heavy cream. And just a reminder, when you are measuring liquids, so as I was saying, slowly pour the heavy cream into your measuring cup. Just don't spill it like I just did. And when you're measuring liquids, get right on eye level with it, just to make sure you're right on target. Okay, 1.5 cups. This is going right into the saucepan. To that, we're adding just a couple sprigs of thyme. Thyme gives it a fantastic flavor. You can actually just put the whole sprig right in, just like this. So put just a few pieces of thyme in the pot. Next, we're adding 2 garlic cloves. I know you're a little bit surprised because I very rarely use garlic. 2 garlic cloves that are chopped. Next, we're adding nutmeg. Just a little teeny bit of nutmeg. A 1/2 teaspoon. Nutmeg is very strong, but it gives it a fabulous flavor for this dish. Okay, we've got the nutmeg. And now just a little bit of salt and pepper. Let's just mix this together. This is going to go on your stovetop. Now, you just want to put it on maybe about medium heat because you definitely don't want it to scorch. So keep a careful eye on the cream. Next, we're just going to add 2 bay leaves. And at the end, obviously, these will be taken out of the mixture. Again, gives it a really nice flavor. Okay, let's go ahead and start the potatoes. I'm using 2 pounds of russet potatoes. You can use any kind of potatoes that you prefer. First, let's just go ahead and peel these. And tonight, I get to use my brand new mandolin, which I'm so excited about. I have the mandolin set on 1/8 of an inch. This is all you do. Just go back and forth. Look how perfect this is. I get excited easy. But take a look. You can make these into potato chips. So many things. You could use them for vegetables. They're fabulous. Put them right into the bowl here. Oops, don't need that. And now what we'll do is cut another one. So what you do next, just take the small piece of the potato, put it right on there, and then you just simply put it right inside your existing piece that was already on there. That's all. Okay, next we're going to take our heated cream mixture and pour it into the potatoes. Let me just grab that from the stovetop. And what you want to do is just take a slotted spoon, because again, you don't want the bay leaves in there, and just kind of pour the hot liquid right into the bowl with the potatoes. And make sure you do want to get the garlic, you just don't want to get the herbs in there. Okay, mix this together. Make sure all the potatoes are nice and coated. Next, we're going to add one of my favorite ingredients, Parmesan cheese, 1 cup. Oh, this smells so good, and I don't even have it in the oven yet. Okay, I have a cup of Parmesan cheese right here. Simply add this in. A little bit more salt and pepper, and then we'll put it into our pan. Fabulous, I can't wait to try this. We are ready to put this right in the pan. I'm using a 13 by 9 buttered casserole dish for this. I have my oven again set at 400 degrees. And now again with a slotted spoon, just take the potatoes, lay them out. And this part will get a little bit messy because you want to make sure they're all kind of evenly spread out here. Make sure all the potatoes are coated. Oh, this looks absolutely wonderful. And finally, the last part, just take the leftover liquid, of course, and just spread it out. Beautiful. Next, we're just going to add a little bit more thyme on top of our casserole. Just a few little pieces. This is optional, but I like to do it. Okay, a little bit more parm. Sprinkle this on top. And then we're going to cover it with some tin foil. By the way, you can use any kind of cheese that you like. Some like Swiss, some like cheddar. I prefer the Parmesan, but it's really up to you. Now the potatoes are going to cook for quite a while. So the cheese may actually brown before the potatoes finish cooking. That's why we want the foil on top, and then we also want to it to vent a little bit on the corner as well, just so the steam can escape. Just like that is fine. This is going into the oven for about 40 minutes. It'll be nice and brown on top when I take it out. Let's go ahead and start the baked French toast casserole with maple syrup. And by the way, make sure you use pure Vermont maple syrup, or Maine. It's always the best kind. Okay, so this makes approximately 6 to 8 servings. And this is one of those recipes your family is absolutely going to love. They're going to ask you to make it time and time again. It's very, very simple. we're starting with a good French bread right over here. And we're cutting the slices about an inch thick in just about 20 to 25 slices. We're going to tuck it into a buttered 13 by 9 pan. So let's start by cutting. Make sure you have a serrated knife, of course. I'm just cutting this at an angle. Now, the thing about this recipe is you're going to let it set overnight. So you can actually make this the night before your Easter brunch. Okay, I'm making a mess over here. Let's go ahead and start. We're just going to kind of tuck it in here. Kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, if you will. Make sure they're all nice and snug in there together. You can add one over here. I haven't been counting the slices, but this looks about right. There we go, perfect. Now we're going to make the filling inside. So let's move this aside just for right now. And in a large bowl, we're going to crack 8 eggs. I'm using extra large eggs for this recipe. This recipe your kids could always help you make. Okay, to this, we are adding 1 cup of whole milk. She's back over here. Get our milk. Now, if you want, you can use 1%, 2% milk, but it's Easter brunch. You've got to go all out for this recipe. It definitely gives it the best flavor if you use the full fat milk. A little bit of a tongue twister. Again, 1 cup of milk, and then we're adding 2 cups of half and half. Not to be confused with heavy cream. Again, make sure you get right in eye level. Okay. Pour this. Pretty standard right now, you know, your standard French toast. We're adding next 2 tablespoons of white sugar, which I have already pre-measured here. A 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Most of my recipes today I'm using do include nutmeg. A 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. You can't have French toast without cinnamon, right? And of course, pure vanilla extract. We're using 1 teaspoon of the vanilla extract. Okay, now we're going to whisk this together. You can always use a handheld mixer for this part if you like. I'm just using a simple whisk here. Let's pour this over. Make sure it gets all evenly coated. Oops. Okay. Now this part's a little messy. You just want to get your hands, you know, right in here to make sure the bread is all soaked up together. And again, this is going to sit overnight in your fridge. Okay, I've got the foil for my 13 by 9 pan. Popping this in the refrigerator overnight. Wait till you see what it looks like in the morning. It's going to be all absorbed, all the liquid. Now we're going to make the crumb topping. Okay, we're ready for the praline sauce now. In a small bowl, we are adding 1 cup of light brown sugar, which I have pre-measured here, as you can see. 2 tablespoons of light corn syrup. Kind of like the consistency, as you can see, of honey. Of course, it doesn't taste anything like honey. Okay, to that we're adding a 1/2 pound of softened butter, which is 2 sticks, by the way. And then 1 cup of chopped pecans, or pecans, as my aunt says in Oklahoma. She always makes fun of how I say it. Cinnamon and nutmeg. A 1/2 teaspoon of each. The topping is to die for. Wait till you try it. This is a very elegant dish for your Easter day brunch. So what we'll do after we mix this together is simply drop it onto the bread. Again, that sat overnight in the fridge. It's the exact consistency that you want to look for. Kind of like a creamy peanut butter consistency. Okay, excellent. So I'm just going to drop it onto the casserole. Dropping that onto the bread, and then take a spatula or a knife and just spread it, completely covering all the bread. This is going into a 350-degree oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. Look how gorgeous the French toast casserole came out. Spectacular. Now top it with some pure maple syrup. You're good to go. Your family is going to love it, I promise. It doesn't get any easier than this. Now for the spinach and bacon quiche. This serves about 8 people. Very simple recipe. Perfect for any sort of brunch. Mother's Day brunch, baby showers, but especially Easter brunch. Extremely simple to make. Okay, we're starting with 6 eggs. I'm using extra large eggs, by the way. Wait till you see how many ingredients are in this. You're going to be pretty surprised. Pour this right into your bowl. We're just going to whisk the eggs. Again, you can use a hand mixer for this. You can use just a whisk, whatever is easier. A little bit of salt and pepper to the eggs. And by the way, the eggs should definitely be at room temperature. They come out fluffier that way. Next, we're adding 1.5 cups of heavy cream. You can use half and half, but like I said, it's Easter brunch, go all out. It's not going to kill you. It's only going to make you stronger. Okay? pour this right into the egg mixture. Next, we're taking 2 cups packed of baby spinach and we're going to wilt that. And to do that, very simple. If you have a salad spinner, even easier or even better. I don't actually have one. So I'm just going to rinse the spinach leaves in cold water. Kind of shake off the excess water. And now just put it into a saucepan on high heat. Okay, now in just a few minutes this will begin to wilt and it will be barely any spinach. You'll see it shrinks right down in size. So we're just going to leave this alone for a few minutes, let it do its thing. And now we'll go back over here and work on the rest of the quiche. Okay, next we're taking 1 pound, that's right, 1 pound of bacon. Who doesn't love bacon? This is why I love this recipe. Spinach and bacon and quiche. I've already cooked it and diced it, as you can see. I've got it right here in the bowl. What we're going to do is line it on the bottom of our pie crust. I'm just using a regular frozen pie crust that you buy right at your regular grocery store. You can always make one if you like. Sprinkle the bacon on the bottom. Okay. On top of the bacon, we're going to add the wilted spinach. Let me go check and see how that's going. Oh yeah, almost done. I am going to drain this actually. I've got a little bit more than I want. Shake it out. We're adding this right on top of the bacon. Next, we're adding 1.5 cups of shredded Swiss cheese. You can use any cheese that you like for this. I think it goes best with the bacon and the spinach together. Oh, it smells delicious. Okay, and then finally for the egg mixture. Slowly pour this right on top. Gorgeous. What a great recipe for Easter. Kids even like this. What a great way for them to get their vegetables in, by the way, with the spinach. Okay, this is going into the oven now, 375 degrees for about 35 to 45 minutes. Finally, for our last recipe, the blood orange bellini. Talk about easy, it has 2 ingredients. What an elegant complement to your Easter brunch. Now, I have 4 champagne glasses already in the freezer. You want to make sure those are chilled. I have a bottle of Prosecco, which is sparkling wine. I've had it on ice for about the last 30 minutes, so you definitely want it nice and chilled. Prosecco is an Italian white wine, generally a dry or extra dry sparkling wine. Prosecco is also known as one of the main ingredients for the bellini. The other ingredient is blood oranges. Now, a lot of you probably don't know what blood oranges are. Blood oranges, or blood orange juice, are primarily grown in Italy, but cultivated in the United States. They're in season for a very short time. So if you go to the grocery store, you only have a very small window of time to purchase blood oranges. In Texas, they're cultivated from December to March, and in California, from November through May. I had a hard time finding the actual blood oranges, so I just picked up a bottle of the blood orange juice, which is just as great. So back to these unique oranges. They're almost a crimson red blood-colored flesh. Sounds kind of gross, but it's actually delicious. The fruit is smaller than an average orange. Its skin is usually pitted, but can be smooth. The flesh develops its maroon color when the fruit develops low temperatures during the night. The skin can be tough and harder to peel than your regular orange. They're actually very healthy, full of vitamin C, and full of antioxidants. They have a unique flavor compared to other oranges, almost a raspberry-like flavor. So all we're doing is combining, in just a minute here, 2 ounces of the blood orange juice into a champagne flute, and then topping it off with the Prosecco. The sweetness and the beautiful ruby red color of the blood oranges really complement the bubbly champagne. What a delicious way to start your Easter brunch.
Oh, film this, you can hear it. Oh.
I should be a bartender. Look how perfect. Oh! I spoke a little too soon. Okay, I've got to try these. They look really good. Okay, let me just try it. Excellent. The blood orange juice is definitely stronger than your regular orange juice. Has a little bit more tart flavor to it. And the Prosecco goes great with it. That's all the time we have today, folks. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Melissa's Menu. If you have any questions, comments, or if you like copies of the recipes, please make sure you email me at melissasmenu@gmail.com. I do hope these Easter recipes add something special to your Easter this year. But whatever you cook, I hope your Easter is blessed. Happy Easter.